I ask regularly, like, how many times did you come? Like,
oh wow,
like
you give the post game interview. Like,
yeah, I want to know. Like, I need my report card. Like, I want
wanna
to check my grades. Did I get an A, B, C, or D? Like,
Oh my god.
and D is good. Like,
Pause, bro. Again.
thank you.
Jesus Christ. Jenna sent me an article the other day about this girl who was an influencer ever since she was a toddler, and she's saying that she feels resentful now for her parents because her parents like quit their jobs. They just said we're gonna fully pimp out our toddler, and this has been her whole life. She doesn't know life without having a camera pointed at her. So she says when she turns 18, she's going to like go public, probably divorce her parents. Yeah, because she said that they're putting money away for college, but she has no idea how much money, and they would guilt her and be like, oh, she would
Wait,
be like,
and she doesn't know how much though.
no, she
Oh,
doesn't
no,
know how much money.
See, that's
and how
messed
much.
up.
I mean, if you're making a lot of money from the time you're 2 years old, you better save up for college at least
Yeah,
bare
you should have
minimum.
plenty of money. Like, yeah.
But she said like whenever she would ask about stop recording, they would say, oh, like we won't be able to have this nice house and these nice cars, and this
They
is
guilted her.
yeah, I feel like this is really traumatizing to people, to children.
I think this is worse than the oh, my mom is on OnlyFans thing.
Really.
I do.
Why? What makes it worse?
Because it's pimping out your child versus pimping out your child or pimping out yourself and explaining to your child why you're doing it.
I actually agree with you because adults are free to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't put your your child on OnlyFans, then that's obviously where I draw the line because that's illegal. Yeah. But yeah, I do think it's messed up, and I see everyday people doing this just for clout, kind of just putting their kids in these videos, making them do funny things or say things just for likes and clout. People actually like traumatizing their kids, like, oh, pretending to like, oh, be in a fight and see how they react or things like that.
We talked about an article where somebody's kid, they wrapped him in saran wrap and they got like DIFUS called on him or Child Protective Services or something like that.
Yeah, they should have. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible, man. Do you think this is going to be more of a common thing with like social media, especially like with these kids? Because the difference between like kids who are on TV and movies or in movies, like they actually have laws. Like you can only be working this amount of time. They have like child labor laws, but there's no child labor laws for social media.
Yeah, I think that it's what sounds like it makes this situation worse is the money piece.
Yeah.
Because I played piano starting at, I think it was like 9 years old. I was playing piano and actually making money in church and stuff. And then I did that all the way through until I went to college. So almost 10 years. But for me, when I was making money, like my parents made sure that the money, like I took the check. I took the check to the bank and I signed it. Like I had my own account. Like all those things were mine because that was work that I did. Yeah.
Been making money since he was a baby.
Yo, you know how we do it over here. But I think that for them to make money off of that kid and then keep information about what money is coming in, all that sort of stuff, like they're trying to keep the kid ignorant and
keep
them like in a way subservient to them, and that's messed up.
I mean, yeah,
that's not what parents should do.
Yeah, I feel like just the identity problems. The kid doesn't ever get to learn who they are outside of performing for the public, performing for strangers at the end of the day. It's just a weird, strange scenario. I mean, I'm grateful to have grown up without social media. Like, I feel like it would suck to just have a bunch of videos and pictures of myself when I was a kid, like without me posting it myself. Like, people have this idea of who I am, but they never met me, like, especially if someone's making money off of it. So it definitely should be regulated. Yeah. Would you ever, like, how do you feel about like posting your kid up? Would you ever like make money off of it? Like, you post a TikTok of your kid, it goes viral and it gets like 1 million views. What do you do?
I don't know. I mean, I think you don't know until you're in that situation. Like if I'm getting $50,000 off of one video that I posted of my kid, that's like, shit, maybe I should make more videos. Like, but at the same time, if it things change, the dynamic changes when your kid is like a toddler and you're taking videos of them and the videos are blowing up virally. That's way different than when your kid is like 10 years old. They start to really understand things.
Yeah.
And if you're not explaining to them what's happening, if you're not including them in things, they're not going to learn. They're not going to understand how to navigate this sort of environment because tech is not natural. It's not normal. And they have to be able to like grasp the idea and the vastness of what technology and social media is.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they're sheltered from that, it makes it really hard. It makes it really difficult. Thinking about myself again, I didn't have social media until the summer before I was going to college.
Wow. OG.
Yeah. And my first platform was Facebook. What about you? When did you have social media first, and what was your first platform?
Oh, MySpace in 05, man.
Wow.
That was I think it was the end of the 8th grade. The summer before 8th grade. So MySpace was popping. Like, you know, we could put our own songs on there. Mm-hmm. You know, you had your top 8. Troy, did you have MySpace too?
I did have MySpace. That was my first social media as well.
When did you get it?
Probably around the same time as you. I think maybe like 8th grade, 14, 15.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I had MySpace, and then I had Facebook, and then Twitter, then Snapchat, then Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, later. But you know, when we're on all the apps, guys. So just make sure you follow us.
Exactly. nochilllive is everywhere that you listen to podcasts, streaming platforms, all that. But I think that's messed up the way that they because in a way they've created this huge gap between them and their kid.
Yeah.
And it's all their own fault because they weren't transparent.
They also made a ton of money. So I really don't think that they care. I think it's extremely selfish. But hey.
That kid is going to turn 18 and sue the shit out of their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Gonna have a whole YouTube channel just shitting on their parents once we find out who they are. I'm sure this is the first of many cases. I would never put my kid through that. I don't have any kids. But when I do have children, I don't really want to put them out on social media like that much because I feel like it's kind of weird. You never know. Like for family, it's cool, but outside of that, like why do you need to see my baby?
Not only that, who knows what social media is going to look like in the next 5 or 10 years? Like it could be a really crazy space on the internet. I don't know. I mean, it's already really crazy. So
yeah, I saw this article you added about Rachel Bilson. She didn't orgasm from sex until she was 38. She thought that was crazy. Now she had Whitney Cummings on her podcast where they had this conversation, and she said, I think Whitney Cummings noted that she hears a lot of women say they don't orgasm from sex until after they had a kid. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, as men, we're not always conscious of this. Was this surprising to you at 38 years old?
I mean, for me, when I saw this, I'm like, what? Like, 38 years old, and she's had a kid. Like, she's been with multiple guys in the Hollywood acting sort of world. Like, it's just, that's a long time. And I think Whitney Cummings, she's the one that brought it up first. She was like, oh, I didn't have an orgasm until I was like 40. And then damn. Rachel like responded like, actually, yeah, me too. Like I didn't have one until I was 38.
It's the new Me Too movement, guys.
And just to be clear, it wasn't that they never had an orgasm. It was that they did not have one from like penetrative sex.
Yeah.
So for me, as a guy, like I ask regularly after we have sex, like, how many times did you come? Like,
oh wow,
like
you give the post game interview. Like,
yeah, I want to know. Like, I need my report card. Like, I want to check my grades. Did I get an A, B, C, or D? Like,
oh my God.
And D is good. Like,
pause, bro. Again.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. Oh man, he said, "I want to know." You're not Joe, yo.
Like, I'm serious though. I'm really serious. I ask you. Next time you see Nat, you could find out.
I'm good. I'm not ever asking that.
No, I really do. I want to understand like what sort of happened, because the thing is with women, and you know, not to attack these women for, you know, being transparent, being open about what's going on with them sexually, but for you to get to 38 and never have an orgasm from penetrative sex, that means you've been keeping a lot from your partners.
That's not true. She could have been honest with them, and she could have had orgasms, you know, other ways, with stimulating other things. You know, it's a
let's assume they have sex for the first time when they're 18. I mean, or let's say even 20. That's 18 to 20 years of no penetrative orgasms. Okay. In my mind, maybe I'd be having some wild sex, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty like normal. Every once in a while we go crazy, but like I expect her to finish. I expect her to have enjoyment.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. That's just me.
No, I get it. I mean, you know, I've dated people who had no orgasms ever, and it's the most frustrating shit in the world. It's like really disappointing. It's like, oh, I'm gonna try, and then you just get tired. It's just like, you know, I'm done. You just broken. Like broken pussy. It's not my fault. You know, I
shout
try.
Out to Issa Rae.
For real. And everyone's just different. Sometimes, you know, it's just the right partner, the right, you know, sometimes it's understanding your own body. You know, sometimes women take a little bit longer to really know their body and know what they like, you know, and I feel like culturally, like women are more self-conscious about their body and more self-conscious with sex than men. So it may be a little bit harder for them to be vocal until they're a little bit older.
Maybe.
So I've heard of things before like this. It would be discouraging for me if I was in a relationship with someone like who was dealing with this and we just weren't compatible in that way. Yeah. And I think it's hilarious how in this article they have like a list of all the guys that she dated in the past. Like these guys couldn't get it done.
It was tough. I mean, Hayden Christensen, she has a kid with him, and
you name dropped and you snitched like
because
5 times.
I don't care. I actually like him as an actor. He was Anakin. He was in Jumper. We talked about that earlier. I really did like him, but that's sad, man. That's really
put him
sad.
Out there like that. You really liked them until he let you down like Tiger Woods. He let you down.
Pause. He didn't let me down. He let his wife down. Like the mother of his child, his baby mama, he let down.
Oh man, their kid's gonna read that shit one day. Like, damn.
That's the problem with being a celebrity. Anything that you say in an interview, on a podcast, on any sort of shit, our kids are gonna see this.
That's us.
They're gonna see this podcast. They're gonna be like, "Dad, you was wilding."
100%, bro.
I'm gonna be like, man, this is PG-13. You don't even know.
Yeah, for real. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Spotify. Follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
All the apps. We're everywhere. We are everywhere.